This is the draft season podcast. It is your boy Young Raz recording real late night. What is this? The 27th of July. I am coming live from where I often do. I'm with my boy, player partner Sean 5K. Talk to him.
It's draft season, man, and like we about to give you guys a very entertaining show today. About to do a mock draft, and what would we do if we were in the shoes of these executives and team owners? And so it's a lot of we definitely got that trade that broke earlier between the Pelicans and the Grizzlies to talk about. We'll talk about that when we get to New Orleans, or we get to Memphis at 10 now. But yeah, man. So we're gonna be swapping off and taking turns, going pick by pick, and also be doing some larger off season preview and just discussing where we're at with these teams, what they need, what's the core, and everything. So I guess we can start. We can kick it off. So we're at number one. And obviously the Detroit Pistons are at number one. So it's pretty interesting to talk about where they are as a core right now, because obviously they have on the books. Just looking at their books right now, they have Blake Griffin is still going to be on the books next year. Just shout out to Dead Money. They also do have Jeremy Grant on the books for 20 million. Mason Plumlee, Killian Hayes, their first round pick last year. They do have Josh Jackson, Sekou Doumbouya, Isaiah Jackson, as well as Dwayne Dedman, Sadiq Bey, Corey Joseph, Jalil Okafor, and Zaire Smith. So they're sitting about 88 mil of cap space. So they're not really going to be a cap destination. So they're at what do they have, about like around $20 million of cap. So I mean, just talking out loud about this core, Raz, and I mean, obviously we've spoken about this in the past before. Cade Cunningham is just he's my number one prospect. We can get into the arguments about the profile here, and would you want to, like, is the swing for the fences Jalen Green if you want? But for me, like I said, I do just think, just talking about what Cade's going to bring to this team, and a team that's been lacking a true star for, I mean, Andre Drummond doesn't count. Like,
No, he does not.
Andre Drummond is a
Nor
punchline.
does the corpse of Blake Griffin count. So like,
Yeah, it doesn't.
like
It doesn't.
Monroe,
It doesn't. No. Like, you got to go back to like like Ben Gordon
maybe
to
like
like
Josh Magic Johnson Smith, as he's called in NBA circles.
no, that Josh Smith era in Detroit was ghastly.
Yeah, it's bad basketball being played. I mean, you want to go back to Ben Gordon? I think that's generous too. No,
He kind of melded in when he was in in Detroit.
I don't blame him. But yeah, I mean, I think here you got to go with the sure thing. So I'll let you make your pick, GM.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Kate is here, but just to talk about them for a little more, they have the number one pick, the 37th pick, the 42nd pick, and the 52nd pick. They also have Dennis Smith and Habibou Diablo are RFAs this season. Um, it's funny. It's funny with Dennis, man, because I'm still rooting for Dennis, man. I like, even as a backup guard, man. I want to see whether this is rational or not. I do just want to see Dennis succeed. Are you out on? I don't know, like, if they have Killian and they have Cade, so I mean, he's probably gonna get renounced, I would guess. He has a $17 million cap hold, so I mean, that, like, I
Um,
yeah, I
yeah,
yeah, I can see that being, that's probably getting renounced. So, but where are you at on the Pistons core? Just about, I mean, I guess we might have spoke about this before, but what would you anticipate the Cade and Killian core as a backcourt looking like?
I like it. I mean, it's. I mean, they're both pretty tall guards. So what's Killian 6'5"?
Yeah,
Um, and then Cade 6'7", probably still growing. I don't look. I don't see, and I think Cade has the ability to go off ball, and I think Killian won't have an issue making that transition to being an off-ball kind of player either. Obviously, we didn't get to see much of him last year in any type of structure or anything really because he was hurt. But him and Cade together kind of just Swiss Army knife each other. Depends on which one has what role in that day, and I think that could be really dynamic. It's a little bit of a light skin backcourt, but I think they can make it work.
Yeah, man. Killian shot 28% from three last
Yeah,
year,
let's not
so
talk about it. Let's just sweep it under the rug there.
nah, it's rough, man. Because if he's gonna like athletically, it's a strength. Like because if you're just building a backcourt, you don't want to have two guys who you know aren't really can't really win with their first step. And as much as I am a fan of Cade, that's not necessarily he's not gonna first step you to death.
Nah.
So I do think that's something that I would think heavily and at least trying to get into the eyes of Troy Weaver. If he shocks the world and says he goes, Jalen Green number one, it's because he believes in Killian Hayes, and I think like stylistically, it might just be a better fit. So, like I said, I'm going Cade here. I just think the overall package is just it's too much to the point where I don't see him failing, and his feel for the game at his age, and even where the room he has for growth. And I still do think there's some athletic upside in that profile to where he might be able to, get a little more bouncier and a little more, every just as he really fills out his body. I do think that will help him really reach that next level in his career. So yeah, man, I'm sending this in. Adam Silver is going to the board here. I'm going. Oh shit! Did I just fuck you? I think I just fucked it up, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. The hell did I do here, man?
You drafted for me.
I did
So
draft for you, bro. How do I?
I would have. I
Undo
would have.
previous pick. Undo previous pick. There we go. All
Okay.
right. So the Rockets are
The suspense is gone now.
the Rockets are
For
on the
those
pick
watching on the YouTube.
the Rockets are on the clock with the second pick, Raz. Where are you at? You could give the offseason lookout for them.
I mean, we could go with the season lookout to start. The Rockets were just putrid. Um, we can start there. I don't think anyone here would disagree.
Glad they got Dante Exum, man.
Do they?
Yeah, he's on the roster. He's on the roster.
Like, yeah,
I think he's a free agent this summer. But I forgot he was on that roster.
let's jump in. So we got guaranteed contract. You got 44, close to 45 million for Jonathan Wall. I don't expect him to be with the team next season.
Who is touching that contract? Bro?
I don't know who's gonna touch it. Bro. I can't, but I don't
Nobody's
know.
touching
Like,
that.
you think he's gonna be there?
I mean, that's a mighty buyout. I don't like 120 million.
And that owner is broke.
Yeah, so I don't
Relatively,
really.
I guess. But
Ain't no relatively. He's broke. he might have more money than us, but broke is a mentality. That's a mind state, and he's out here penny pinching when he owns an NBA team, so he deserves all of the slander. But yes, they still have Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon for 18 mil. Christian,
I would like to see them possibly try and find somebody to take that contract if there's somebody who I do think Eric Gordon could probably free Eric Gordon. He could probably help a team. They also do have.
When the fuck did they get DJ Augustine?
He was in that Bucks trade that the PJ Walker trade.
Daniel House,
PJ Tucker, pardon me.
Kevin, that's NBA champ PJ Tucker. Kevin, but we haven't even spoken about the NBA Finals. But I guess we'll do that at a later date. Or we could just sweep it under the rug.
Shout out to Giannis.
Yeah, shout out to Giannis, and the knee is healthy. And shout out to PJ Tucker. Yeah, that wraps up our finals talk. Kevin Porter Jr., Troy Williams. So not the cheapest of cores, quote unquote. Nobody on a player option. They can bring back Avery Bradley. I think you got to let Avery Bradley go somewhere else. We've been having this same conversation about Avery Bradley for 6 years. He just can't stay healthy. Non-guaranteed. Kyrie Thomas, Kenny Martin Jr., Tate. You would expect all of three of them to be back.
Yep.
Jashawn Tate, so they'll
Those
be
are good.
back.
Those are good end of roster fillers. I do think even Kyrie Thomas is somebody who
Yeah,
I see him as an NBA player somewhere along the line. But yeah, continue.
DJ Wilson will probably be let go with a $13 million cap hole, close to 14 million. I liked him coming out of college. It hasn't materialized at all, but maybe he can go somewhere and become a end of the fucking bench kind of player. I don't know. He could be a serviceable backup, but I don't think in terms of this exercise, they're not keeping him. Number 2 overall pick, number 23 overall pick, and a number 24 overall pick in this year's draft. I mean, we go Jalen Green here. You need talent, you need upside. This is a home run. Um, at 2, it would have been a home run swing at 1 as well, but I think you just go with Jalen Green here and go from there.
How do you feel about the Jalen Green and Kevin Porter fit?
It's a lot of buckets, right? I mean, Jalen Green could be more of a playmaking combo guard, I would think. In that setup, I mean, but you do have John Wall as well currently on this roster. I think the KPJ and Jalen Green fit is bad per se, but I think they would have to figure out a few things and subtleties of each other's game to really optimize it. But I think you just take the swing with the talent and the upside on both of these players and see where see where it leads you. You can never have too much young talent, especially at the wing. So just stock it up and see what happens. Like the Hawks have done it. And they're just going to continue to figure it out as they go. So I don't see why other teams can't take that same approach.
Yeah, if they take Jalen Green at 2, they're gonna make themselves like they're gonna be interesting to watch, which is always like at least if you're gonna be bad, man, at least have some type of intrigue. You don't want to be like unwatchable bad. You want to have at least a little type of glimmer of hope. And
Yep.
yeah, both of those guys have really high upside. So I mean, I definitely do think that is something that you can you could give your fan base some hope with those two. We don't know what the hell's about to happen with John Wall, but even like there's there's a chance John Wall comes like into camp next year at like 240 pounds. Like I just don't know what the hell
Yeah.
is gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen with him. But yeah, man. So I do think that we can move on to number 3, which is the Cavaliers of Cleveland. Looking at their books, Kevin Love is still making $31 million next year. Living the dream, washed up, bank account swell. Just living life. Taurean Prince is still on the books for $13 million. They have
That's
Larry
Mr.
Nance.
That's Mr. Address him correctly, first of all. That's Mr. 50-50-90.
You talking about Taurean Prince?
Yeah. No, that's Tony Snell. Same dark guy. That's
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Yeah, very, very.
We might have to edit that in post or not.
But yeah, it's the rapper weed, bro. Don't worry. But yeah, we have Larry Nance Jr. still on the books for $10 million. One of the best contracts in the NBA, in my opinion. I don't like. If I was a team, I would be trying to steal Larry Nance from like he's one of those guys who can swing like he could probably swing a playoff series for the right team. I think like even that like just that glue piece that a lot of teams are missing. He's in that mold for so many teams, and even for a young team, like it makes sense why you would want to have him on the books. But like I don't know if like a first, like it'd be interesting to see what they would value him at. Like, is a first round pick enough to steal Larry Nance from them? Like
I would think so.
I would think so as well, but they're coming up in a precarious position in their rebuild, I would say, where some of the guys are getting older. It's decision making time for Kobe Altman and the Cavs, because they're gonna have to make some decisions. Even looking at the roster that we have here, obviously they have Okoro, who they took last year. Darius Garland is still on the roster. Um, Colin Sexton, like I said before, and shout out to J.R. Smith still being on the books for next year as well. You love to see brothers getting paid when they're not working. So yeah, man, like I said, it's gonna be interesting. Colin Sexton is extension eligible this year. So yeah, man, that's kind of, and the rumors of Colin Sexton being available, that's kind of like, it's not the secret. It's definitely not a secret around NBA circles, and it does seem like his name is being thrown around there. But I mean, what do you make of, like, are you just punting? Would you punt on the Sexland, the Colin Sexton, Darius Garland backcourt at this point?
It depends on what you can get. I think if you feel confident with what you're gonna draft and you really feel that Garland is your point guard of the future and you could get Kevin Love off your books and get some, I think you can do it. I don't know. They don't seem like they want to give Colin Sexton a max. So if that's what it's gonna come down to, because that's probably what he's gonna command once he goes out there and scores 26 points again. He's kind of a tweener. He's not really a point guard. So yeah, I mean, I would keep him if I was the Cavs, but I can see if you're able to attach him to Kevin Love and get that contract off, you might have to do it.
So yeah, man, I'm a very big Jared Allen fan. Like, I'm just, he's one of, like, and it's funny because about his frame, like, he's not the strongest guy, and even what was that 2019 net series where he had to guard Embiid. Embiid ate him up in the post, and that's just a frame thing. But I still do think, like, he's one of those guys to where he's not afraid to contest every shot. He's a rim protector who really does make an impact around the rim. So, like, that's he one of the best, just rim protectors in the league. So I'm a very big Jared Allen fan. However, that contract, he is a restricted free agent this year. So that contract he's about to get, it could be interesting. I don't know what the hell would you pay Jared Allen in free agency. It's going. That's kind of the question to see here, and even just the decision for what the Cavs can do at three. That's kind of where things get interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, fork in the road moment, but their pick also has to, be, synergistic with the roster. So let's say they are getting rid of Sexton. That's not the only glut that we're talking about here. Because I do think Mobley versus Suggs is a pretty interesting decision. I don't think a lot of people have had this, you know, I think most people look at it as Mobley as the here, and I go I going back and forth.
I think you breaking up, bro.
Like, the upside probably in Mobley, and but also if you believe in Jalen Suggs as a pull up shooter and you think he can really get to that next level as a scorer, he's the type of guy that you would want to put next to a Darius Garland, and just let them eat together. But I think for me, I think I'm gonna go Evan Mobley here because I do think moving forward, him and Jared Allen, I think Evan Mobley playing some four at the beginning of his career is not the worst thing for him. It's gonna be situationally, but I don't envy this situation that Cleveland is in right now because they got some tough decisions to make. But yeah, I'm gonna go Evan Mobley here, and I would probably, like, as much as I like Jared Allen, I'd probably take Evan Mobley and probably try and see what the sign and trade market for Jared Allen would be. Would you make the same pick, or do you see any you know anything that would back up taking Jalen Suggs at three?
I mean, I would say I would go with the same pick because if you're taking Jalen Suggs at three, you're in the same position you were. I would say with Sexton, not that they're the same player, but smaller backcourt.
I think
Um,
defensively, he brings a ruggedness on defense that neither
he
of those guys, and he would fit perfectly next to either of them.
yeah,
And
I mean
Garland is not a good defender.
he's
But
not.
the offense did start to really like blossom in year two.
But I mean, if you're that's my thing though. Like if you're trading, like they're talking about trading Sexton, so like, do you go kind of with the same two small guard lineup? Sure, perhaps. But I mean, I think Mobley is probably the better pick.
Yep. So yep, we sending that into Adam Silver. You are on the clock, Raz.
Oh boy, the Raptors. I think here, I mean, we can go to the overview. But just thinking initially off the top of my head, you're gonna need a Kyle Lowry replacement. Um,
Interesting. I mean, there's some names on this roster.
yeah, I mean, but
And Kyle,
guaranteed
it seems like Lowry is
is
gone.
gone. I would say Pascal for the guarantee salary. You got Pascal, Fred, VanVleet, OG, and Malachi Flynn. They have some trade and mid-level exceptions for free agency. No player options, no team options, non-guaranteed salaries. Rodney Hood is on that team, so he can get healthy. Aaron Baines is probably somebody you keep. I don't know at this price.
He probably out there.
The Boucher is going to be kept for show. Bembry is probably going to get retained as well. You don't want to be Paul Watson and Freddie Gillespie. I don't even know who that is. Restricted free agents. Gary Trent Jr. absolutely coming back. Nano De Colo.
Shout out to Argentina.
Yeah, so sure, like
I'm bugging France. He's
no,
France.
yeah, no, that is. I know who you're talking about Argentina though. With the
I'm
fourth
bugging.
overall pick, I think. I mean, I do think I'm going Suggs
Nano
here.
DeColo hit a cold shot in that USA loss down the
Yeah,
stretch.
yeah, he did. Um, I mean, I think you can go Suggs here. Suggs and Fred, I think fits pretty well together. Um, I don't know what you do in terms of Gary Trent Jr. Is that somebody you're bringing off the bench? Maybe I don't. He's too small to play your three, but I think you put Suggs as your lead guard and keep Fred as your scoring off ball option, and I think that backcourt is pretty potent. So I think just looking around at roster makeup, I mean they're gonna lose a few things, but like with the core of Pascal, Van Fleet, and Gary Trent Jr. Boucher obviously is going to be back. OG. I think you go with best player available, and I think that's Suggs.
What do you make of the rumors that Siakam is available right now?
I think if Siakam is available right now, I think he's been had gotten a bad rep from NBA Twitter and some of the pundits.
It always goes too far.
Like, and we're forgetting how good and useful of a player he actually is. It was kind of the same slander Giannis was getting in the playoffs this year until he wasn't. So I don't know if it's not going to be the same effect as that, but like he's still a very useful player. He's a 20-point scorer. He can play defense. He's a max player. Is he a number one? Maybe not. Not many people are. So I think you have Pascal as your 2 or your 3, like you're a team that's in contention for at least a top 4 to top 5 spot in your conference every year. And from there, you just roll the dice. So I think Siakam is if he's available, then I would reevaluate who I'm taking. I don't know if I go Suggs at that point. But I'm assuming that Suggs is going to be there. I mean, Siakam's going to be there, and we're running back with that roster. And I'm going Suggs, so we could put that pick in.
If Mobley is at 4 in the actual draft, like I think that's a home run for
the if he's there.
That's a home run for the Raptors, and that's kind of I
him.
know. I took him, so he's not. I'm talking in general, but Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like I'm still interested to see what happens with Masai. Like I don't know what the hell is going on with him, if he's signing like an extension in Toronto or what. Off the top of my head, off the top of your head, Raz, do you know what Fred VanVleet shot in the restricted area last year?
Uh, is it bad? Because
I mean,
like,
you could guess first.
I'm gonna assume it's bad. So restricted area, he was shooting like 40%.
Yeah, he shot 38% from the restricted area
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
tough.
You know,
Like that's tough.
I'm a big Fred VanVleet fan, but yeah, he's a damn good player too. You know, it doesn't even matter because he's a good defender and he he can shoot the lights out. So you could live with a little of that. But yeah, I'm probably probably. So what would you say? Suggs your pick here?
Yeah, it sucks.
Suggs is your pick here. All right, so let's send that in. And with the fifth pick in the draft, the Orlando Magic are on the clock. Um, what the hell do we make of Orlando? I've spent way too much time on the past 5 years watching rudderless Orlando Magic basketball as somebody who was very interested in the development of Jonathan Isaac. So you know it that
Same.
was definitely that was something that you know definitely they are for sure they're in an interesting spot here with their actual team. You know, just looking at where they are right now. Forgot they have Otto Porter, who I don't think they're going to offer a restricted contract to. Still got Terrence Ross on the books. They did pick up Gary Harris. You know there's worse guards you could have than
I
Gary
mean,
Harris.
but Gary Harris and Otto Porter are two players on your team. Like, if they're healthy, they're useful
I
as
don't think
fuck.
Otto Porter is going to be on this team next year.
No,
But
he's not. He shouldn't be.
so
But I'm
yeah,
saying,
they got Terrence Ross, who you know, he look up the definition of microwave scorer, and you're probably gonna see a picture of Terrence Ross right next to you. Markel Fultz, get healthy soon, my brother. Just want to see him. It sucks, man. That injury really sucks, because he was really starting to come into his own as a player before
yep.
he got hurt. Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter are both on this roster, which is just another. You know it's the worst position you could have between those two guys. When we really talk about him, James Ennis, Michael Carter Williams, is as a non-guaranteed, and they have Cole Anthony, Chuma Okiki, R.J. Hampton, Dwayne Bacon. Who they got? Mo Wagner as well on the roster. What do we make of this Magic core? What do you make of this core, Raz?
I don't. It's a lot. It's a lot of
It's a
parts
poo
to
poo
look
platter.
at. Yeah, it's like a little bit of everything. Some competition there if you really wanted to make it truly a competition. A lot of redundant players. And a lot of young players. So I think they're just gonna have a fucking battle royale to see who comes out on top. Clearly, that's the best way to do it. You know, you got Fultz and Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, fucking Terrence Ross, Otto Porter Jr., who we don't think will be back, but that
Oh
price
yeah,
he was good.
Otto Porter has a $33 million cap hold. He is for sure getting renounced.
Jonathan Isaac, Mo
You could bet your
Bamba.
money on
What?
that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of the same players, man. Michael Carter Williams is on the Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, look, R.J. Hampton too. Yeah, like they just have a bunch of everything, bro. Iggy Brass, Dakis, Nick Legend. So like I think there's just a lot of the same type of players, a lot of positional battles that need to happen. And I'm sure with this pick they're gonna add to that fucking mishmash of that anyway. So I don't I have yet to see the vision. Clifford got fired, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, they did
So
fire.
and that shit not his fault either. Like
Now, Steve Clifford they hired Jamal Mosley from the Mavericks. Pardon me.
yeah.
And yeah, big. He was a Rick Carlisle assistant, and so I would definitely say he is somebody who a lot of like Luca definitely clamored for him, and you know he's one of these. Shout out to all of the young black the black coaches. Well, no, I'm not shouting out Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups, but the other guys who got their jobs. We're gonna shout out to them for getting well earned positions. But getting into this pick, yeah, man, like it's tough here because there's more potential here than I think we would probably or we probably would say off the top of your head about this roster, but it's not necessarily long-term pieces. Like even with like I don't know if Mo Bamba is getting a second contract. I don't know if Wendell Carter is getting a second contract from these guys. So that's going to be interesting. As far as his pick goes, we do talk about the Scotty Barnes. We talk about Kuminga. It doesn't seem like Davion Mitchell is, in play here, but I do think like that type of dynamic talent is something that I would be really interested in. And it's possible they do have the 8th pick as well as the 33rd pick. But I do think I'm gonna go Scotty here because that just seems like the magic pick.
Yeah.
Whenever just as far as resetting your clock as an organization, which is pretty much why they traded or they got rid of Aaron Gordon. So like it's not that, and before Jonathan Isaac blew out his ACL the year before, the Magic, the second half of the season, they were one of the best defensive units in the league, and that just talks about the upside that Jonathan Isaac has as a defender. But yeah, combining him with Scotty Barnes, you know, fuck it, man. It would have been amazing if they just hired Leonard Hamilton, but we just they just hired Jamal Mosley, so we're not going to go there.
Things can't be perfect.
Things can't be perfect, but in an optimistic world, Scotty Barnes, in this type of who the hell is shooting on this roster would be my question. I mean, how much? We need more shooters than Terrence Ross.
Yeah.
Terrence Ross is not shy to get these shots up. So, I know he won't. He's not gonna have any problems taking those shots. But
yeah,
I don't have Scotty fourth on my pick, but I don't know who else I would really be in love with. I think
this is the 5th pick, no?
5th pick, yes.
Yep.
So 5th pick, yeah, man. Enough. We have enough questions with Scotty, but I do think as far as organizations go, and just getting guys that you believe in, and Scotty Barnes, anything you read about him, you hear just about how hard of a worker he is. So he kind of, and he's a Florida kid.
For sure.
For lack of better options, I'm taking Scotty Barnes because I think you can, with the other handlers that they have on this team, he would be able to play an interesting role of actually being able to still handle the ball. There's other guys who are score first guys like Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton who can also I don't hate the fit next to Scotty Barnes with those guys. With if you have a couple attack guards, and even though folks can score, he is an attack guard. So I think as a if we're just talking about Scotty, I do think that will put him in a lot of good positions, and I do think RJ Hampton also. I think he has a little more upside as an off ball guy, particularly. So I do think that it could be a little fun talking about that. So I'm going Scotty Barnes here. Raz, you are up.
I am up. Jesus.
6th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. They got a lot going on, as we know. Lots of picks, 14 of them. Now they have the number 6, number 16, number 18, number 35, 36, and number 55. Can they draft all of that? They can.
No,
they can. No. They can. They shouldn't, but they can.
That's not a good idea, but let's look at their roster real quick. Where are they at roster wise? They have $95 million in cap space. In $14 million in cap space.
Unrestricted free agents.
Al Horford is traded. This is not updated. It's not. Shout out to you, Fanspo. That's definitely on you. Hey man, we don't know what to make of, let's just say, conjecture and rumors. Mike Babcock did report that Oklahoma City, so Sam Presti offered the number 6 pick and Shea Gilgeous Alexander for the number 1 pick to Detroit, and allegedly the
Shout out
Pistons
to
declined. So
shout out to
what
Raymond Felton for still getting paid. By the way,
you love to see
uh,
that?
yeah,
What do you make of that action? First of all, Shea being on the market, and
it's
two,
interesting for sure. Shea being available is interesting for a few teams. But making, I mean, if that report is true, I think the Pistons are insane. I don't know how you turn down Shea and a pick for the number 1 pick. I think Shea, we know what Shea is, and he still has the potential to get better. Um,
Kemba is also on this team. Let's not forget the BX legend.
yeah, okay. That's I don't think he starts the season there. I was gonna gloss over it for his sake.
I kind of think. I mean, it's funny because let's see what happens there. But I could see him rebuilding his value. I don't I don't think Kemba is like washed, man.
I
Like
don't think he's why. I mean,
the fit. I mean, defensively, Kemba was never good on defense.
no.
So I mean, like he got killed for that. He was coming off an injury last year, so he really kind of was like working himself into shape, and so that's kind of tough. So like they probably could trade him right now. I mean, I know there's like obviously the trade kicker, or he's got traded, so that there might be a limit on when they can trade him again. But yeah, I mean, OKC is just I mean, a pretty good spot for him to kind of rebuild his value, and you know, him playing next to Shea, I guess. I mean, not long term, this is irrelevant, but you can get back to what you're going.
Yeah, I'm just saying, not taking that trade sounds a bit bizarre to me, but knowing what I know, this team is a team that is what we're gonna call it, just rebuilding. Like there's no direction for it yet, other than acquire assets and push up from there. With that saying, I think I go with Kaminga. If I'm the Thunder at 6, take the upside and try and develop it.
Also feels on brand
Yep.
for Oklahoma City, and I mean, I guess if if you for where they are at in their rebuild, they kind of should be shooting for the stars because and I even do think I do like the idea of him playing next to a guy like at this point, who knows if Shea is going to actually be on this roster? I guess the argument is that they believe Shea isn't by the time this roster is ready to compete. Shea would want to be out, or he wouldn't want to be traded if you give him because Shea's getting a max contract. If if the Thunder don't want to give it to him, somebody else is. So like I kind of don't understand that argument because if you could lock up a max contract level player, like you could talk about like but how long do you want to rebuild? Like that's like
Yeah, but I
it's
mean, they
great.
seem
It's great that they have a million picks, but like from if we're just talking about these picks become less valuable the second that you make them. So it's gonna that that's gonna be the interesting label to really see how Presti gets creative and really tries to put this roster together because like we saw nobody is signing to go play in OKC. That ain't happening. So I mean, you're gonna have to get creative, but I mean, is really trading a 22-year-old kid who shot 40% from 3 the way to go? Is that good process? I don't. That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Like it doesn't, but they don't pay us to make these choices.
Hey man, I mean, I also wouldn't have traded James Harden
Nope.
for Kevin Martin and Jeremy Lamb, but that's what Sam Presti did. Also, fuck Clay Bennett.
That's
On
fair.
wax. Yeah, fuck
That's
him.
reasonable.
But yeah, let's Adam Silver at the podium. We're gonna select Jonathan Kaminga. And we're up to the Golden State Warriors at the 7th pick. Let's take a look at the books. Obviously, you still do have Wardell Curry, Steph Curry on the Bucks. Let's pray for Klay Thompson's knee ligaments. Please get back
Please,
soon.
please.
Please get back soon. You do have the Wiggins. That contract is yeah, man. I'm it's not my money, so I'm not gonna hate on Andrew Wiggins. 3 years, $30 million left on that contract. What is money? Money's not real. Draymond Green is still on there. Kelly Oubre,
It
it's
seems to be
funny.
headed to the Knicks. So
Steve Kerr said that you're coming off the bench if you return next year. I don't think Kelly Oubre is going to be interested in coming off the bench. I think he can start from somebody. So, I don't. I gotta check if they have his bird rights. But that might just not. I mean, yeah, it might just. Let me see. Do they have his bird
is he
rights?
unrestricted?
Checking right now. Let me see. Kelly Oubre is unrestricted. He's
Okay.
unrestricted, but they do have his bird rights, so they could go over to cap to resign him. Um, he has a $21 million cap hold, but they don't have any cap, so it doesn't mean anything. Obviously, they have James Wiseman on the roster. Kent Bazemore is a free agent. They also do have Kevin Looney is still under contract. Eric Pascal is still under contract. Alan Malajic is still under contract. I guess they still have Nico Mannion. So I mean, Raz, what do you? Oh, and obviously Jordan Poole, Juan Toscano Anderson, and shout out to Sean Livingston still being on
Yes,
the
sir.
roster. What do you think is their biggest need, Raz?
I don't know. I mean, I think they need. Wiseman got a bad rap last year. I don't think he deserved that. I think he's gonna be pretty good. They do need a big man, but I don't think you take a big man with this pick.
Hell no.
I think they need solid scoring off the bench. To compete in the West, they need someone who can knock down shots and create shots off the bench.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at this pick right here, and I mean I've made a lot of arguments. It's funny. It's really hard. It was really hard for the Warriors to be worse than they were offensively in the year before when Steph got injured. But if you just look at the numbers, their offensive rating when Steph sat was was even worse than their offense in the year before. So like they need some type of energy off the bench. They need somebody who can bring them energy, somebody who can play next to the two lead guards, somebody who can shoot, somebody who has a winning mentality. Sounds like Davion Mitchell music to me. It's kind of like we just talk about what he's gonna bring, and I see Davion as somebody who has a super high upside. He's an older player, which I mean I guess might intrigue Steve Kerr. But even if let's just say he's your third guard, and like you have Draymond there. You have somebody, I mean, Jordan Poole is your gunner off the bench. I mean, he's a better defender than Jordan Poole, but
Yeah,
I like the fit here. I like what I think Davion could be a day one contributor for him. I think he give them a lot. Just as that third guard that's bringing energy off the bench. Just that lightning rod. I do think even though he's on the smaller end, I do think him and you know, if Clay comes back, Clay slides down a little bit to the three. You do have I like Damian Lee, to be honest. I don't Steve Kerr never really want to play him too much. But even if you have Wiggins, who is still also going to be there, but I could see lineups where even if Clay's on the bench, you could run out Steph in Davion and Wiggins at the three with Draymond and another guy. So I do think Davion gives them somebody who can contribute for this team next year, really give them that third guard that they were truly lacking somebody who can get their own shot and also create some havoc on on the court. So I mean, and I just think, like I said, Davion showed the ability to play next to other guards.
Yeah,
So going from playing with Jared Butler to Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, I do think that's going to be a really strong fit for him. And I just think, even though for Davion, at least, I do think his it might kind of let him embrace his true destiny as like pull the shorts up and digging down on defense type of energy defensive guy who can still shoot the ball. I just love that pick as somebody who just the upside of that value of what you're going to get on the rookie contract. I just think that's a pretty good fit. Plus, they have the 14th pick to really add wing depth, which they also do need. So for me, I'm taking Davion. I wouldn't let him. I mean, just trying to like theorize who else I would take here.
yeah,
Um, my next pick probably would be Moses Moody if it wasn't
that's fair.
Davion here. But yeah, man, I'm sending the pick in. Davion Mitchell is my guy here. You are up, Raz, or did I just? Yeah, I did the same shit again. You're up. The Magic are back on the clock
The
with the eighth pick.
Magic. Oh man. Again, a team with a lot of the same players.
I mean, but yeah, with the first pick, they took Scotty Barnes with the fifth pick.
Yeah,
We already broke down. We went
yeah.
over them. We don't need to kill
Go
anybody else with
with Magic
Magic
talk.
talk. But where would you go with this second pick?
It's tough. It's real tough. I think you went Barnes, so you kind of feel all right there in terms of like maybe a safer pick. Do you go for super upside here? Um, I've narrowed down to like three people realistically, and I'm here with Giddy, Keon Johnson, and Book Knight for them. Franz Wagner is someone that entices me. I don't think the Magic would be enticed by him, but he is a pretty sweet shooter, and pretty good player. I think he's going to be useful in this. I
They got a
just,
bunch. They got a million wings already. I
yeah,
mean, I
that's
guess long term,
they have a million
they
everything though. That's the thing.
they like even the Chumo Kiki is somebody who probably would play that same just I guess swing wing spot. But yeah,
Um, I'll go with Book Knight here. I'll go Book
oh,
Knight here. Yeah, like,
it's kind of overkill at a certain
but
point.
when isn't it going to be? Like, look at these options. I mean, I could have went Jalen Johnson, right? But it's like.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson is not going in the lottery. Like
That's what
I
my
feel
point. I don't know, but that's my point.
I
Like that's
feel
what I'm
certain
saying.
in saying that.
I don't know who else you go. Moses Moody, like maybe
That'd probably be my pick.
you think so. You just see if you could talk me into that.
I
How?
think I think with the Moses Moody, he's somebody who first of all he can shoot. I
That
think I
helps.
think he's a better shooter than Book Knight.
He is.
Um, I don't think he's going to need the ball in his hand as much. And I think 3-and-D guys and 7'1" wingspan. I'm a really big Moses Moody fan. I do think defensively he's going to be able to contribute early. I know even like I watched a lot of him at Montverde. Like he shot what do I have here? He shot like 45% on the lower levels, and he shot 35% on catch and shoot threes. And I do think as somebody who can play without the ball, and he's not afraid to really like finish plays around the rim, although like he does need to improve his craft. But when they have Fultz, they have Cole Anthony, they have RJ Hampton.
Yeah.
I mean, they so I mean, what do you? I mean, that was my Moses Moody. I just think first of all, I trust him more to shoot. So
Yeah, and I get that. But I think I'm thinking like the Magic, so I'm gonna go Book Knight. uh,
all right.
yeah.
So we taking the Book Night here now. The Sacramento Kings are on the clock. Oh man, the fucking Kings, bro. Let's take a groin first and just low. All right, so on the books, they still got De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is really, really
Free him.
fucking good.
Free him.
Buddy Hield and his Nigel Thornberry teeth are still in the cut. Harrison Barnes is over there. Shout out to Marvin Bagley for non-basketball related reasons, I guess. DeLon Wright is on the roster. Tyrese Halliburton, man, very great pick for them.
Amazing pick.
Amazing pick. Jameis Ramsey, somebody who I was a fan of coming out. I'll be interested to see where he's at in the summer league. I do think I think he could get, to playable as a rotational guy. Non-guaranteed salaries. Chemezi Metu, Damian Jones is going to be out of here. Terrence Davis is a restricted. I guess. And they also do have the 39th pick here. Rashawn Holmes is unrestricted free agent.
He should get out of there.
I would try and get the hell out of there.
Just get the fuck out of there.
Hassan Whiteside is a free agent.
Sure.
Mo Harkless is a free agent as well. Corey fucking Brewer is on their books.
Shout out to Corey Brewer. Corey Booker. Corey Brewer.
Florida legend. And they have early bird rights for Rashawn Holmes, but as far as cap space goes, they're already at $98 million of guaranteed salary without adding another player. So I don't think what the hell are we doing if they? I love Rashawn Holmes, but just directionally as an organization, I think teams
there is none.
There's a couple people we could blame for that. Vlade Divac, you are a suspect. Vivek Ranadive, you are also a suspect. So there's several guys.
Luke Walton's a suspect. I don't care. Luke, he's not even a suspect. He is the culprit because he's still there.
Luke Walton is also, yeah, man. There's a lot of blame to go along. De'Aaron Fox doesn't seem like the messy type, but hey, brother. Get messy, man.
It's time, bro.
Man, it's gonna. I don't want to I would, free De'Aaron Fox. We starting it right now, man.
Yeah,
free the guy. Free Swiper.
Trade all the picks. The Knicks do it.
I just don't know what the fuck the direction of this team is. Would you trade? Would you trade Buddy Hield?
Yes.
Because there are a couple options they have. DeLon Wright is tradable. Very good third guard for you. He had a really good season last year. Before he got traded. Harrison Barnes is Harrison Barnes. He does his Harrison Barnes thing, and I think he's been a little more consistent on the Kings. Not that people are tuning in for Kings basketball on a regular basis, but I think some team that's trying to that needs some stability on the wings. Harrison Barnes could definitely play on a playoff team for sure. I don't think that's really something that we're doubting. So he signed that extension with them, but it's the lack of direction here is giving me a fucking headache right now trying to figure out what the best option to do here is. Buddy Hield is a really good shooter, and I guess you want to keep him, but do you really see is Halliburton gonna be in that starting lineup next to Fox eventually, or do we just see him as a bench piece? What are we doing there? Because Buddy's not a 3, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. The Kings, man, I'm just getting flabbergasted thinking about this shit. They need a 3. I think in this day and age, Barnes is not a 3. He should be, but he's well equipped to handle the 4. So, I think at this pick you need a wing player.
The Kings had the worst defense in the league last year, for the record.
Yeah. Sure. I would have taken a stab at that and said that. So, they need a wing and they need someone that can defend. That's probably where I start looking.
I think like I made the argument for it with the last pick, but I just think I am fans of each of the Tennessee guards, but I had them a little lower than 9 here, and I don't know. I think the upside is further out with those guys, so you might be reaching a little right here. You would need to see a lot of early development from a Springer or a Keon Johnson to take them inside the top 10 or top 15.
Mm.
You know, I guess they need a Rashawn Holmes replacement if he's going to dip in free agency. The Marvin Bagley thing, with Marvin Bagley, where are you at with Marvin Bagley, Raz?
I
Are
don't
we
know. I
just
don't know. He just always in street clothes, so I really have no thoughts on it right now. Like,
you know wrong?
like I can't.
Usually a nice sport blazer too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's very well dressed. But I mean,
For sure.
I can't speak to his talents as a basketball player right now.
I mean, I guess hypothetically, it's funny because he should like it's. I'm not gonna shit on Marvin Bagley right now because Pete. One thing I hate is people do love low hanging fruit, and
Yep.
it's very easy to shit on Marvin Bagley. It's probably effortless to shit on Marvin Bagley right now. So I'm going to refrain from doing that. Defensively, he was never a center, even when I
Nope.
watched him at Duke. I mean, I guess at a certain point, if he's coming back, I mean, eventually, I guess the relationship, if it's not strained, it's trending towards being strained, and a change of scenario might just be best for everybody involved. So, I mean, like the thing with Bagley is I think like we talk about him like as a prospect, I still do think I could see him getting to, a really productive like type where he's averaging like 17, he's giving you like 17, 18 points and 10 rebounds. We can talk about how valuable that is.
Hmm.
That's a different discussion. But like I don't really question whether he could be productive or not. I question how far the shot is going to go. I question if he can ever get to anything resembling being able to hold up at a center, which is kind of what, if you're going to take him where they took him in the draft, that's it depended on him playing some center and him developing into a pull-up shooter, and we are not there at for either of those options at this point. So
So
I mean,
with that
this
being said, why are the Kings taking Giddy? They're gonna
nah,
do
I'm not.
exactly the opposite of what we support them to do.
Nah, I gotta. I'm taking Moses Moody here, man. It's never like getting some more wing depth, somebody who can shoot the lights out of the ball. Like I said, he doesn't need the ball in his hands. Like that's like you have guys like you got Fox, who is um I mean, if he doesn't have the best first step in the league, he's not he's not far behind. He's always going to be that. You have somebody like a Tyrese Halliburton, who is, a really good decision maker with the ball. So I think like you're gonna have, or even if you want to, shit, man. But what? Buddy Hill still has. Does he still have 4 years on that contract left, man? Holy shit.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, if you
you
don't
know
want to
he's
trade him, I think
35.
like even like you can never have too much wing depth, and I do think Moses is going to be able to play defense, which they're drastically going to need. Like I guess type of wild card type of
Yeah.
picks here, man. Like, I would not like Usman Garuba is defensively. I think he fits this roster. I think what he does defensively, like, if you want to go some 4 or 5 stuff with Bagley and Garuba, I guess that like theoretically would work. I mean, if Bagley was shooting, but then again, spacing might be like mucked up between the two of them. But yeah, man, this is an interesting spot to be in. I would probably be trying to trade down if I was them.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, but I'm taking Moses Moody here because if we continue to talk about the Kings, my head might start to explode. You are on the clock with the 10th pick. This pick was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies are on the clock, which leads us to our discussion about this trade here. What did you make of this trade, Raz?
Um, Pelicans did everything they could to get Bledsoe off the books. That's basically what I got from there.
Let's give the full trade before we do. If you haven't,
Yep.
if you were taking a nap for the past 12 hours on Monday, July 26th, and you just woke up from a 12-hour nap.
Nice
The
slumber.
Grizzlies, the Grizzlies, minor coma. The Grizzlies, they picked up Jonas. No, they traded Jonas Valanciunas to the Pelicans for a first round pick. On the 10th pick, they moved up from 17. And the Grizzlies picked up Stephen at the albatross contracts of Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. And the and yeah, so Memphis got, I mean, the Pelicans got off of those two guys, and they picked up Valanciunas. So, what do you make of this trade?
It's literally just getting rid of Eric Bledsoe. Um, for the Pelicans, I think. I think the Grizzlies get an opportunity to move up and take some better talent than they would have had available to them. As a team that kind of was in that fringe play-in tournament area, getting more talent will not hurt. Steven Adams is going to be provided serviceable return for Valanciunas. I don't think they'll miss him that much. And I think Bledsoe will either be traded or will be used, hopefully, in a good
I
minute.
don't. I like once that I know a lot of people shitted on the Grizzly side, but even they said Eric Bledsoe isn't expected to be on that roster, so he's either going to. I could see him ending up in somewhere like the Lakers. I don't really. Yeah, I don't really like. I wouldn't really want him around my young core. I don't think Eric
No,
Bledsoe is washed per se. But it did seem like he was uninterested for large periods of the season and just kind of
I
dogging
don't
it
want
on.
to. The famous tweet. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Like this is
So I mean,
his
that's
MO.
what I'm saying. Like it kind of makes sense. But I guess just to do a quick reset for where the Grizzlies at, because the Grizzlies, like I said, the Grizzlies are the darlings of draft Twitter,
Yep.
and they have a lot of interesting pieces on this roster, and they have a lot of depth, which allows them to do something like that. Um, before we get to the actual trade, because I see the vision for this trade for Memphis. I know, Raz, this is something that we spoke about for when we talked about the Grizzlies preseason, just about where they're going to be at with the rebuild, and obviously they're ahead of where anybody would have prognosticated them to be over the last few years. Obviously, they just missed the playoffs last year, and then they played themselves into the playoffs this year.
Yep.
So they have a very high floor, which I don't think this trade actually changes. I think the hate on Steven Adams is probably going too far. He was never as good as people said he was in Oklahoma City, and he's not as bad as people are making him seem right now.
Yeah.
The fit next to Zion was always questionable. But I do think even like if your center rotation is Steven Adams, Tillman, and Jaren Jackson Jr. That's I think it's a pretty strong center rotation. I do think Tillman. I mean, not. I do think Adams, and if you want to do the double center thing again, and I'm forgetting Brandon Clark, but if you want to do the double center thing between Adams and Jaren Jackson, we know Jaren Jackson is a floor spacer. We know he's camping out on the 3-point line on offense, which kind of leaves Steven Adams to do what he does best,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have to really worry about like him and Zion kind of occupying the same spots on the floor. So from I like this trade better for Memphis. They pick up a first round pick next year as well, which
That
just
helps for sure.
continuing to stock up, moving up this year, picking up another pick to go along with. They have 3 picks next year. I think they have the Pacers and Utah's pick next year off the top of my head. But so yeah, I like this trade for the Grizzlies more. Now on to the side of the Pelicans. David Griffin. I know people gave him kudos for getting off of the Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams contracts, but I can't give him
No,
I can't give him credit for getting off the Steven Adams contract because first of all, um you were gifted Zion Williamson to start your rebuild, my guy. Like you started off, that's a great like he came out of, he took a year off, he did the ESPN shit, you know, and it's always funny to watch how guys or like these guys who you can tell you could tell the people who play the media game well. You could tell the guys who have the media guys in the back pocket. It's usually the guys who do TV, and media guys aren't too, let's say, critical of guys like David Griffin. So he took over that spot I mean, for considering that you were trading a generational talent in Anthony Davis, and you like the return they got for Anthony Davis, like for the situation they were in, like it was a damn good return for what they were in. So like he started off with a clean slate and in a great position to do something. You can't miss with Zion. It's just like great luck, to be honest, to go from AD to Zion. You know what I'm saying? But and then your next decision that you make is to select Jackson Hayes, which regardless of, I think
yeah,
physically, and if we're just going off of talent, Jackson Hayes is an extremely talented big man. He has not put it all together yet. I'm not going to take the jabs at him. His playing time has been very inconsistent throughout his career, as you usually expect for young big men. It's kind of not his fault, but like, I mean, it's just like it's puzzling to me that decision that they made to take that decision that they make to take Jackson Hayes after taking Zion, when they could have took anybody else, another wing, anybody would have fit better next to their core and put them in a better situation, or somebody who could actually grow with your core. I don't know how Jackson Hayes gets a second contract on this team, which is like what are we like? He's gonna have to, like, he's basically auditioning for his next NBA team at this point. And like, I mean, Jonas Valanciunas is an upgrade over Steven Adams. Defensively, that could be a mess. It could be a huge mess. People. I think Zion is going to get to better on defense. I don't necessarily
yeah.
see greatness, or all defense, or just like impact defense in his future. I think that's something to watch. But he doesn't have to be an impactful defender with how good of a scorer he is. But yeah, man, like if I just had to grade that trade, like they got to get like the Pelicans get a D+ for you, because I'm not giving you credit for cleaning up a mess that you created.
Nope.
You don't get, that's not how this works. You have a generational talent. Zion's don't come along yearly. We might not see another Zion for another 15 years, 20 years, maybe longer than that. So, like I said, they cleared up cap space, which, okay, cool. That could, if we're talking about the iteration of that team next year, it could be great for them. But for David Griffin, at least, this is him cleaning up his own mess. So, like I said, he has a lot more work to do on this offseason. So, getting into getting into what's it called? The Grizzlies roster, just where they at. We have they got Dylan Brooks on the books for 12 mil, Kyle Anderson on the books for 9 mil.
Slow mo.
Shout out to the legend Slow Mo.
Yep.
Ja Morant still like 3 years away from
Good for
being
them.
rookie, max. He's getting the max.
Yep.
So that money hasn't kicked in yet, which is why I do bang with this trade, because they're just maximizing as much assets as they can acquire before Jaren's extension kicks in and Ja's extension kicks in. DeAnthony Melton, one of my favorite off guards,
Yep.
just that guy who's gonna defend his ass off. Tyus Jones, what do you make of the Grayson Allen experience, Raz?
He's useful in spurts. I don't think he's a bad player. I think you know, he is what he is. I don't think I don't know. I don't see much more room to grow other than becoming a better ball handler. Better like off guard, kind of just like third guard, help you run your little offense and get you knock down big shots and just be a pest off the bench. But I think he's someone that who can stay in Memphis with that roster, with that core, and be that player off the bench that you hate to play against him, but you love him on your team kind of guy.
Yeah. So also, they also got Brandon Clark, who
Yeah,
I would be trying to steal Brandon Clark from the Grizzlies if he's in the
if he's available.
yeah, if he's available, I would definitely be trying to steal a Brandon Clark. I think he just kind of didn't have the space, and he kind of just got played out of rotation. But defensively, he has great instincts on defense. So like you always love to add guys like that. Desmond Bain, the boy, our boy,
Yep,
and Xavier Tillman, and
my guy.
then Jonte Porter. Still rooting for you, Jonte. I watched a little bit of him in the G League. Hopefully he regains some of his stuff. And then they have a $13 million team option on Justice Winslow, which
Should probably get rid of that.
that's probably getting declined. And so yeah, Raz, you are on the clock at 10. What are you thinking here?
I'm going with Kispert. I think could be a little bit of a reach. I might get killed for it, but
Not bad. He can shoot the lights out of the ball. So
he's a shooter. He's a little bit older, so his upside is limited for terms of this, exercise. Everybody's talking about potential, but he's gonna come in ready to play. Can knock down, has a little bit of a mid range, shoots the shit with confidence, and when you're running that pick and roll with Ja downhill, this team could always use more shooting. I think Kispert is somebody that you can plug and play right away with Ja and maximize Ja Morant's talents because he's gonna, yeah. Go ahead. Now I was gonna say you need somebody to bail him out sometimes and knock down those shots.
Yeah, not as much in love with it does seem a little crazy to trade up like trading up for Corey
It
Kispert,
does.
but
It sounds crazy, but
it
like
does sound crazy.
the way this
But
draft just went, I mean,
yeah, like if it goes a little different, like let's say Giddy sneaks into the top 10, or like a Kai Jones goes early, that's kind of where like something or just that 10th pick could be. So yeah, the Corey Kispert. Yeah, man. Like I said, I don't really doubt Memphis is one of the best organizations in basketball right now, so I'm not really doubting
yeah.
them. Number 11, the Charlotte Hornets. Quick, let's speed through their situation. Gordon Hayward is on the books, 29 mil. Scary Terry, the baby Rozier, 17 mil. Nicholas Batum is on the books. They got Melo, Miles Bridges. 18 years. 18 years. She got one of your kids. Got you for 18 years.
That's tough. That's
PJ
I don't think
Washington.
we should talk about that right now. That's
Yeah. Vernon
dark songs.
Carey is on the roster. Shout out to Jalen McDaniels, both of the Martin brothers. Shout out Oak Hill. Malik Monk is a restricted free agent. He has a $16 million cap hold with a $7
I would think
million
some of that would be
with a $7 million qualifying offer. Devontae Graham is also
restricted, right?
he has a $4 million. He's restricted. They have each of their bird rights, both restricted. Devontae Graham is at 4 mil. And his cap hold is 4 mil as well. Grant Riller is on their 2-way. And Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo are unrestricted free agents. So obviously these guys need a center. That's kind of the biggest need here. The Kai Jones is the fit that's been floating around, but
I don't know.
I think I'm taking Alperman Sengun here. I think he is. I think he is the best center. I do think somebody who has really he's not I think defensively I do think somebody like PJ and Miles Bridges, who are like interchangeable at the 3 and 4. I guess they could make up for what he might lack in foot speed on the perimeter. That's probably never going to be great. But I do think just what they have as a team. I'm very big on having guys who are all like. It would be a team that had great feel for the ball. We know Gordon Hayward is a good passer. We know Melo is a wizard and one of the best passers to come in the league
Yep.
within the decade. One of the favorite things about the second half of the season after Melo got hurt was seeing Miles Bridges really expand his game and get back into his playmaking bag, which we saw at Michigan State. So that's going to be that's another thing that'd be interesting. So like I do love what Sengun could probably bring to them, and I do think just from like the way that LaMelo was spoon feeding guys in the basket. I think when Sengun, I do think he has the frame to really, get a good seal in the post, and I do think guys like Melo would really be able to get him in really good position. So, at 11, it's not the sexiest pick, but
Yeah.
I do think there is it gives them, a really funky look for a funkier roster that would be a little more versatile than people might give it credit for. So I'm taking Sengun at 11 here for the Hornets. Raz, you are back on the clock. The 12th pick, San Antonio Spurs.
Spurs. They need a bit of everything. Demar's probably a free agent. Could see him walk in. Rudy Gay, how much more of that experience can you deal with in terms of trying to win? He probably needs to go somewhere and go be an eighth or ninth man. A little bit of a basket. For somebody.
Patty, yeah, they got Patty Mills. Like I guess, yeah, Patty
Yeah,
Mills on the
Patty
roster. Trey
Mills is on.
Lyles,
So that's
David Lee. What the fuck? What's going on here?
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Got to be a different David Lee. No fucking way.
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, Lonnie Walker, pretty much the extent of that with who am I missing? Point guard Murray, Deontay Murray,
Derek White.
Derek White. Yeah, like those guys are, you know, people you'll have Jakob Porto, Vassell, Keldon Johnson. Like DeMar Carroll is on this
Trey
roster.
Jones.
Trey Jones. Yeah, I mean they have some players. Nothing is sexy yet. Dejounte Murray, something.
It's a pop team, and this is exactly why they're picking 12th because that's exactly where this team kind of ends up. But all right, yeah. What are you thinking with this pick, Brad?
I mean, it's the Spurs. I know they're big on development.
That's available. We have
Best of
Keon Johnson here, friends.
friends. I mean,
Josh Giddey,
I
Jalen
could see
Johnson.
them. I could see them taking France, but I could definitely see them taking Giddy as well. Um, Giddy's what, about 6'9" at this point.
Big, yeah.
Um, but do you have? And I know he's kind of more of an all ball kind of dude. Do you have him and Murray in the same backcourt? I don't. I mean, you could. Um, Keon Johnson is just a freak of nature kind of thing. Um, he needs offense. I think this is somebody they would try to develop alongside Lonnie Walker, but kind of gives you the same bit of issues. Usman is a defensive kind of thing. I don't know if I see them taking Usman this high, so I'll go with Giddy to the Spurs. And they'll try and maximize that potential on him.
Yeah, I feel like the league might be higher on Giddy than we are. But like, I'm a little. I need to see more of the shot, but
Yeah,
he's one of the best playmakers in this draft. So I do think it would be pretty easy. Like I said, I always do love passing, so I can see him going there. So I think moving on to the next pick, number 13, the Indiana Pacers. Where are they at with their cap sheet? Let's look. They got Malcolm Brogdon on the books next year at 21 million. Domantas Sabonis on the books for 19 million. Miles Turner on the books for 18 million. Karis LeVert 17 million. TJ Warren, Jeremy Lamb for 10 mil. Justin Holiday, Aaron Holiday, Goja Batazi still on the books. Shout out to Monte Ellis still being on their books, bro. That's amazing.
that's great.
That's amazing. Love to
Yep.
see it. Shout out to our guy Mariano. Shout out to Monte Ellis, man. Um, I'm not even gonna go on a tangent. Fuck it. Keelan Martin is on their books. Cassius Stanley is their 2A. And unrestricted is they have Doug McDermott is unrestricted.
He's gonna go
They have
somewhere and get some
they,
money.
they have his bird rights. TJ McConnell is unrestricted. They have his early bird rights. Yeah, I mean TJ McConnell could probably get 5 mil on the market. I would probably guess. But yeah, so what the hell? Like this roster is like it's kind of funny that they missed the playoffs because like talent wise, there's a
Some
lot of
injuries
talent.
though. Some
Yeah,
injuries.
injuries. Turner got fucked up.
Yeah.
Karras was obviously hurt. TJ Warren was out. Jeremy Lamb missed a lot of games. But there's a lot of talent on this team. You can it's gonna be interesting to see if they trade Miles Turner, what the return is for them or what they would be looking for because I've always been a big TJ Warren fan, but I don't like. I mean, health aside, I mean, I guess he probably could be, gettable in a trade. I would
Yeah.
say. But for this pick, let's look at the board. I do think Franz Wagner is probably the
The
pick
Doug
here.
McDermott replacement.
Yeah, I don't think I would also mind them going after. I mean, Aaron Holiday showed some signs in the second half, but I do think Aaron Holiday is more of one of those combo guys who I don't think he can necessarily not he's not the most creative guy with the ball. He's more of just a floor general type. So I do think I was really impressed by Wagner's defensive upside and
Yep.
what he did on that end because it's really easy to just eye test scouting and be like, oh yeah, white guy, so he's gonna be a little slow on defense, but really good instincts on that end and moves his feet better than I expected before I really sat down with his tape. So I do think that's a pretty good depth pick for them. And I do think you're gonna be able to, space it for them. And so I think yeah, so I'm gonna go Wagner here. Because it's Indiana
Okay.
and they're gonna love them. A good white player in Indiana, man. That's what they do. All right, so we can wrap up this first part with
The last
14.
pick in the
The
lottery.
Warriors are back on the clock. I took Davion Mitchell with their seventh pick. Best available here are Keon Johnson, Jalen Johnson, Garuba, Sharif Cooper, Trey Murphy, Isaiah Jackson, Kai Jones, Jared Butler, Trey Mann, Chris Duarte, Zaire Williams, Josh Primo, Cam Thomas, Jaden Springer, JT Thor, Bone Tylen, and shout out to Miles McBride as well. Raz, what are you thinking for this final pick?
I mean, you went wing. You went with a wing already. They do need a big man, but they have Wiseman. Um, I
Get Davion's a guard. I
yeah,
mean, I guess. I
I
guess.
like I like. If we're being honest, I want to see someone who can doesn't have to play right this second with this last pick. Well, their second pick in in the first round. I want to say take a shot at Trey Murphy the third.
It's a
Um,
really, really, really good pick. Like I
yeah,
said, with shooting wings. I one thing about him is I do think this shot is translatable.
mhm.
Um, so I do think, and I think there's a little more room for growth for him. And yeah, Trey Murphy, that Virginia program has given us some really solid pros coming out. So I do think, like yeah, even with Murphy, I do think he's somebody who really rose on draft boards coming out, or yeah, kind of like during this like final stretch of draft, yeah, the draft cycle. So no, so I actually do like that pick, and
Yep.
that's coming out with two guys who are going to be able to contribute to them next year. So I do think if they don't trade those picks, which
Very possible they could.
Very possible they could. That's been the first part of the draft season 2021 mock draft. Stay tuned for part two coming to you guys very shortly. Make sure you are subscribed to the draft season YouTube page so you can check out the visual component of this actual page. And yeah, man, we out here.